That's big.
So I have a client, right, who's a gay brother, super solid brother. I hope to have him on the show very soon. He can chop it up with us and have these conversations because my goal with this podcast was every time we talk about a certain demographic, I wanted to have somebody from that demographic, that community on the show, so that perspective has been represented, right? Because it's easy for like three straight males to sit up here and talk about whether it's black women, white people, gay, the LGBT community or whatever, right? So excuse me, I did talk to him about this yesterday, right? So I had this conversation with him and shared my opinions of it, because in no means do I support what the fuck the baby was saying, but my thoughts is this. I feel like once again, humanity, not just the black community, but just humanity in general, but the black community specifically, we've missed an opportunity to educate somebody instead of ridicule them. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't bring people into the fold. You don't make people have empathy for your plight by always screaming down on them. Like you don't make a racist person see you in a different light by screaming you a fucking racist and all this, right? Because you're just gonna make that person double down, and you're gonna make people that feel like him or her double down even more, and creates more of a divide. I would have liked to see somebody prominent from that community reach out to the baby, right? Try to educate him, have a conversation with him, and then those two can bring that to the world and say, hey, I reached out to the baby, we had a conversation, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna speak for him, but after having a conversation with him, like, I feel as though he said some things in error, but that's not who this person is. And I just think I wanted to take this as an opportunity to, heal instead of hurt, right? That's not what I saw. I just saw a bunch of motherfuckers jumping on the bandwagon, whether it's celebrities, like clout chasing.
Cancel culture.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm like, we get nowhere with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that ain't just for the baby. That goes for any situation. That goes for any motherfucker, that says anything malicious, right? Whether it's, calling something, a white person calling somebody nigga saying something, or calling somebody gay slur or whatever. It's like, man, these could be teaching moments. You know what I'm saying? That's just my thoughts on it. I mean, how do y'all feel?
I mean, I definitely agree with those thoughts. I think as, I can speak from a black man, a Jamaican black man who lives in the U.S. As we become adults, there's a lot of things we got to unlearn. I'm Jamaican. I'm not gonna get deep into it, but
All right.
you know what I mean.
All
I
right.
don't need to. I think everybody out there can understand what I'm trying to say. So we have to unlearn those biases. You know what I'm saying? Like, we as black males in the United States, we often complain about how things are against us, right? So, we talk about police brutality, racism, all the things we face just to try to get ahead. I think, we have to also learn that we can't put down, a different group of people just because of the biases we were taught growing up.
Right.
So we have to educate ourselves and like mature to the point that we can say, you know what, growing up, there's things said in the hood, like, you know, it's like I'm not rocking with certain things, you know. But now we're adults. Now we can mature and learn their struggle as well, because we're all struggling.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I agree with what you said. You know, it's a moment to teach. If the person's willing to learn,
Yeah.
we should be willing to teach.
And I get it. Like if the person, if you try to reach out to the person and they're just not reciprocating, I don't know I fucked that word up. But
Reciprocating.
yeah, whatever.
What was that?
Words. Hey, even in season 2, you fucking up words.
What was that?
If they not open to
Listen,
receive it.
I'm not even gonna talk.
Receptive. The word is
I
receptive.
can edit all this.
Word
shit
of the
out.
day,
Like,
receptive.
Listen, my Jamaican accent gonna come out at some point.
First and foremost, I'll edit all this shit out. Receptive.
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 Yeah.
Like, so we'll edit all that out. No, if you reach out to somebody if they're not receptive to that energy and that information, then they might
Cancel
need a
them.
lesson.
Cancel them.
They might need a lesson.
Yeah.
We ain't got no time for
Yeah.
motherfuckers who not trying to move forward. But what I'm saying is like, let's do the work. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to do the work and have some sort of empathy and you know move forward like that. I just didn't like what I saw, man, because like especially with black people, bro, we be quick to join everybody else's
Right.
fucking.
We some of the
But see-
biggest hypocrites too, though, man.
Before we go too far though, I have a different take on it, right? I don't have empathy for the baby. I'm gonna just be honest. I don't have empathy. I don't, because this is the thing, right?
CJ Cole.
I'm just being honest. I don't have empathy
Hey.
because he was. Listen.
Hey.
Because if you paid attention to the scenario and how it played out, he wasn't remorseful until he started losing money.
That's
Because it's first, and that might have been PR cleaning shit up. Because in the beginning, it was, he doubled down on his statements. He's like, my fans aren't nasty. They don't do this. This, that. Like, I was talking to XYZ crowd. I wasn't talking to my fans, right? But you're still talking to somebody. So he wasn't remorseful when people started showing, you know, when they started backlashing, right? So I don't really have empathy. And at the same time, it's like, you know you're saying hateful shit. You know what I'm saying? You know when you're saying something kind of off, you know what I'm saying? Off brand. Like,
Yeah.
you know that wasn't cool to say.
Yeah, we be quick to like. I totally 100% agree with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I guess, you know, I'm playing devil's advocate too.
Right.
So a bit of a hiccup, you know. Don't
What
worry about
another
it,
thing too, my bad. Before we, so with the baby, it's like a pattern of ignorant shit. It was some ignorant shit last year. It was some ignorant shit the year before. Whenever he came out, it's just a pattern of ignorant shit. So I can't really, you know, if this was his first time doing some ignorant shit.
This might be his timeout moment.
I mean,
That might be his teaching moment right there. You know, some people just need to be taught through losses.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what it is for him.
I mean, and the biggest way to teach somebody in the United States
Hit
is
him in
to
the pockets.
hit them in the pockets.
I honestly feel like I've been seeing this meme. I'm pretty sure y'all see this meme too, where like people have been putting up like rappers can rap about
Killing.
and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this, and nobody can counsel him and such. But I'm like, look, that's on us. That's on us. Like we can learn a lesson from the LGBT community, right? Like instead of saying like, hey, y'all don't do that when you know these people talking about this. Well, that's like being in a relationship. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the shit that you accepted from me, the shit that you accepted on me from me, don't expect me to accept that shit from you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't go do what the fuck I do. I'm not gonna stand for it.
Yeah.
So that's a weak excuse coming from our community that, you know, that's a lack of accountability from our community right there.
Absolutely, and I think it challenges the artists, right?
Yeah.
So I think it challenges them in a way that you need to become more creative with your art.
Keep going.
Right.
You know, instead of you know, talking about, yo, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna shoot you in the face,
Right.
I'm gonna fuck you in the pussy, da 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 da. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
Somebody
Like-
said I'm gonna fuck you in the pussy.
I mean,
I didn't hear that lyric.
I mean,
that's a wild bar
I mean,
right
there's
there.
definitely lyrics out there like that. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna shame
Who the fuck
nobody.
was that? That
But-
would sound like Donald Trump mixtape. All right, this
But
is
yeah,
better, man.
but you know, so yeah, you know, it challenges the artist, right? Give the artist the challenge to tell their stories better.
Right.
You know what I mean? How good are you at storytelling?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I can just say it like, yeah, I walked down the street with a chopper and lit it up.
Right.
But how can you paint that visual
Right.
without making it so aggressive? You know
Think
what I mean?
about Nas. Nas was talking about guns. He was talking about all the shit, the hood shit that we know.
Yeah.
But the way he did it was artistic.
And Nas is Nas.
And Jay-Z also.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
what I'm saying?
So I think that would be a huge plus because the baby could have got his message across, but he just got it across straightforward.
But what was his message? Though?
You know-
That's what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was the message? That's
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. What was the
I-
message?
I guess what I'm saying is I would like to make this conversation less about the baby and more so about just moving forward in general.
Right.
Like this conversation to me is more so about cancel culture as a whole and not so much as the baby, but because like half of these motherfuckers half of these festivals and half of these people that were calling for the cancellation of baby don't give a fuck about the LGBT community. It's just they gave a fuck about
Their
not being
pockets.
associated with the baby because
It's gonna affect
he
their-
was toxic, right?
It's gonna affect their
So what I'm
pockets.
saying is nobody won. Not the LGBT community, not the fucking baby, not the festivals. Nobody won, right? But if we would have used this opportunity to teach this brother, then maybe going forward, that energy would have been the energy that we would have, handled all these situations with, you know what I'm saying? Like because everything ain't a reason to cancel somebody, bro. Like